All right, I'm excited for this one. Today we are diving into what I would argue is the absolute easiest type of commercial real estate property that you can own. Whether you're a beginner looking to buy your first deal or an experienced investor looking for something that is relatively hands off, this little known asset class could be something interesting for you to consider. And the asset class is office condos. Most people think you need millions of dollars to get into commercial real estate investing. And usually they're right. But with office condos, you can buy a commercial real estate property for the price of a single family home. And the best part, you don't have to deal with toilets, tenants, and trash like you have to do with a house or other residential rental property. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what an office condo is, who the tenants are that lease office condos, and I'm going to walk you through the math of what they cost, what they rent for, and how they are managed. So, what exactly is an office condo? You've heard of condos for residential properties, and an office condo is the same basic structure, but it is for businesses. But instead of a giant office tower that is owned by a huge private equity firm, you have a single story business park with each building usually having 4 to 6 units of office condos. And each of those units is around 1,200 square feet. And so, as an investor in office condos, you aren't buying the entire business park, and you don't even have to buy the entire building. And the ability to buy an individual unit is how office condos allow you to buy a commercial property, get into commercial real estate investing without having to spend millions of dollars. Now, who are you actually renting these to? With office condos, you are leasing to professional services business that often stay in their space for a very long time. We're talking about law firms, CPA firms, architectural firms, real estate offices, insurance companies, therapists, marketing agencies, IT services firms, and many more. White collar businesses that just need office space to see customers, to have employees work out of, and to just have a home base for their operations. We also see a lot of medical users lease office condos. And now I'm not talking about heavy medical users or hospitals or surgery centers, but I'm talking about primary care physicians, pediatricians, podiatrists, chiropractors, and other light medical users. So whether it's a general office user using an office condo to run their business or a medical user, these are businesses that are serving the local community that aren't looking for a high-rise downtown location, and they want to be close to where they live and where their clients live. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Well, what about all the negative headlines I always see about office buildings? I thought nobody was in the office anymore. I thought everybody was working from home. I thought office buildings had gone way down in value. And while that's true for some buildings, the types of buildings that those headlines are talking about are completely different than office condos. The headlines you see about how it's doomsday in office are they're referring to older office buildings, multi-story buildings that are totally different types of properties than office condos. Office condos are appealing to a totally different customer, and they are constructed very differently. With office condos, you aren't leasing to 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 square foot tenants. You are leasing to small businesses where the owner generally lives within 10 minutes of the property, and the owner doesn't want to go to a 5, 10, 20-story building. They want to be able to drive and park right in front of their front door, walk straight in, have their own restroom, have their own private entrance. And so these office condos are in high demand despite the headlines you see that are talking about how office is bad. Office is bad in a lot of cases, but that's a totally different type of office. Now, at the beginning of the video, I said this is the easiest commercial real estate property to own. Let's talk about why that is. And it comes down to one thing. The office condos are managed by a condo association. So if you own a standalone retail strip center or a flex building or a normal office building that's not an office condo, you're responsible for everything as the owner. The roof, the parking lot, the landscaping, the exterior lighting. You have to manage all these vendors, pay the vendors, and make sure everything is running well. But with an office condo, you are only responsible for the interior of your 1,200 square foot unit. And so you don't have to worry about the parking lot. You don't have to worry about the landscaping. If something happens to the roof, the condo association takes care of that. and then the tenant takes care of the interior unit. So compared to traditional commercial real estate properties, the office condo is so much less management intensive as the owner. Now, there is a monthly condo association fee, and those usually run between $250 and $350 a month per unit. But the benefit you get for not having to manage all those vendors and get calls all the time is worth it for many investors that buy office condos. There's no such thing as passive real estate investing or mailbox money, but office condos are about as close as you can get out of all the different types of commercial real estate. Now let's look at the numbers and talk further about why the barriers to entry for office condos are so much lower than other types of commercial real estate. If you want to buy a decent retail strip center, you probably need $2 million plus. If you want to buy an apartment complex, you may need $5 million plus. But with office condos, you're typically looking at a purchase price between $350,000 and $450,000 for an individual unit, which is about what a home costs in many areas of the country. But instead of having to manage a residential tenant that's calling you every time their toilet breaks, you are managing a professional business that's signing a 3 to 5 year lease in most cases. And that professional business is able to deal with the interior of their unit, and the lease requires them to maintain and keep clean and deal with any minor issues that happen in their unit. And so $350,000 to $450,000 to get into commercial real estate investing, that is a very low number compared to most investments out there. And so you can start with one, and then if you like office condos and feel like you're ready to take the next step, you can buy another unit as you get more comfortable and better understand how these investments work. So as a first-time investor, you don't need to raise capital. You can probably save some money, get a loan, and afford to buy it yourself. You don't need to syndicate funds. You can get into investing relatively quickly and start to learn what it is like to really own a commercial real estate property. And then maybe you graduate to other types of asset classes later in your investing career. Or maybe you say, you know what, this is great. I'm making good returns. I like it. It's simple. I can scale. Or maybe you say, you know what, I like office condos. I'm making decent returns. They're appreciating. And I think I just want to keep buying more office condo units. Now let's talk about, where do you find office condos? And you're not going to find them in urban areas simply because these are single-story buildings, and that's part of the appeal to them, is they're single-story, easy to get in, easy to get out. But due to the fact that they're single-story, the developer that builds them can only pay so much for land. And so in urban areas where land is generally very expensive, it doesn't make sense to build office condos. And so you're typically going to find office condos in the suburbs. And so in the Houston area specifically, we have worked on office condo projects all over the region, but they are most commonly found in cities like Katy, Sugar Land, the Woodlands, Pearland, Missouri City, suburban environments like that. And this is actually a benefit for you from an investment perspective because these suburban areas are generally growing and they're generally appreciating. And so historically speaking, people that have bought office condos have seen not only the rents go up over time, but the value of the units go up over time as well. And they often sell them 5, 10 years later for a significant profit. So if you are looking to get into commercial real estate, but you've been intimidated by the price tag of some of these retail, industrial, and office buildings, or if you're tired of dealing with residential tenants and would rather lease to a professional business that pays rent on time, office condos, I would argue, are the most accessible path out there to get into commercial real estate investing. At Aspire CRE, we are the top experts on office condos in the greater Houston region. And so reach out to us if you'd like to learn more, if you have questions, if you want to see what these look like in person, we'd be happy to discuss and show you. And please do me a favor, if you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and send this video to anyone that may be interested. I'll see you on the next one.